Hello girls, gays, and non-binary babes. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video for you, a very spooky video for you. So today, as you can tell from the title, we are talking about scary books to read in the dark. This is a list of books that will terrify you and keep you up past your bedtime, but not in a good way. And I love horror books that scare the crap out of me, so there's nothing more that I would like to do than to recommend you some. And I have a few here to talk about today that I'm very excited about. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get into it. The first book I have to share with you today is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This has been pretty popular, at least from what I can see, at least in my little corner of the internet, and for good reason. This is a very excellent book. It is the tale of a group of men who have a very dark past, and there's an event that happened in their past that is catching up with them in their adult lives, and it may just get its revenge. It's a wonderful story. It's very creepy. If you like the Saw movies, I suggest this one because it's got some pretty gruesome deaths in it, and it's very gory and wonderful, and it's a really, really excellent story. So highly recommend. The beginning will leave you wondering what the fuck is going on, and I love that in a book, and I know a lot of other people do too, so of course I have to recommend this one. Like I said, very gory, very gruesome, very dark, a little bit of cryptid action in this one, so yeah, very fun. The next book that I have to share with you is also authored by an Indigenous author, and this author is Indigenous to Canada, and that would be Empire of Wild by Sherry Dimeline. This is another favorite of mine. It is the tale of a woman living on a reservation, and it tells the story of the Rougarou, which is a tale that has been told for centuries by Indigenous people in Canada, and it is a werewolf-like creature, and it's very creepy, very eerie. It just leaves you with an uneasy feeling, and there is nothing more that I like than books that leave me with an uneasy feeling. So yeah, highly suggest this one. Definitely underrated. I have heard like nobody talking about this, so get your hands on it. Speaking of books that will make you feel uneasy at the end, we have The Anomaly by Michael Rucker. This one was one of the first horror books that I read outside of Stephen King. I read this a few years ago, and I adored it. It's definitely less on the dark, mysterious side. It's more of a Indiana Jones-esque story, but the ending will leave you uncomfortable. It will, and it'll leave you maybe having a crisis. I certainly did. So this is the tale of a man who is an archaeologist, and he has like a YouTube show where he tries to discover urban legends, like I guess find out if they're real or not, and he gets a little too in over his head with the expedition that he goes on, and we will leave it at that. Very creepy. If you like Indiana Jones, The X-Files, you'll like this one. I know a lot of people have heard about this, but yeah, the ending of this one is horrific, and I mean that in a good way. So yeah. The next classic kind of modern horror book I want to talk about is The Troop by Nick Cutter. So also one of the first real horror books that I read outside of Stephen King, and this was a big leap into horror. It's scary. This is the tale of a group of Boy Scouts who are camping on this island, and a man shows up on this island, and there's something seriously wrong with him, and nobody really knows quite what. It's so gross and so weird, and it will scar you for life. So yeah, I will mention heavy trigger warnings in this one for animal abuse. That was definitely something that I almost had to put the book down because it was so incredibly hard to read. So keep that in mind. If that's something that you might not want to read, then yeah. But other than that, it's horror. It's gonna be rough, and I know a lot of people know about this book and have read it, but I do want to include it anyway because it's just so wonderful. The next book I have is a novella, and that is Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. So this, I don't know if this is out yet. It does come out this month, aka October, so get your hands on it if you haven't already. This is the tale of a group of friends who are celebrating two of the members getting married, and they are at a haunted mansion that is deep in the Japanese wilderness. And this is where the couple is getting married. They are celebrating the wedding, and things happen. I won't give any more away because it is fun to find out for yourself, but it is dark, it is creepy. The ending is so gory and icky. That's the only word I can use to describe it. It's just icky. But it's wonderful, and Cassandra Khaw is one of my new favorite authors. The writing is just impeccable, and such a solid horror novel, and definitely will become a classic in the community, I think, so keep your eyes out for it. The next book I want to talk about is a nonfiction, and that is because there's nothing scarier than real life. Am I right? I'm right. But that is The Hunt for the Skinwalker. This is by Colin A. Kelleher and George Knapp, and this is the story of Skinwalker Ranch, which is a section of land out in Utah, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it is well known to be a site of a lot of paranormal things. You name it, it has happened here, and this is the true account of everything, almost everything, that has happened at this ranch, and it's terrifying. Like, I'm literally getting chills right now thinking about this book because of how scary it was. And it's one thing to read a novel and be like, oh, that was so scary, but it's fiction. But this is nonfiction, and one of the authors has a whole PhD. It's a little scarier. Definitely this was one that I really couldn't sleep well at night after reading, and if you're into nonfiction and true accounts of weird shit happening, then go ahead and pick this one up. There's also a documentary based on this, and I think I watched it. It definitely does not compare to the book, because the book really like gets into the nitty-gritty of it, and the documentary kind of can only do so much. But yeah, if you don't really want to read the book, then there is also a documentary, so check that out if you want to. And the final book I have to mention today is a Stephen King book, and that is Revival. So this has a special place, 1, in my heart, 2, in hell. The ending of this was so unexpected, and also the most terrifying thing I have quite literally ever read in my entire life. And I mean that, like, genuinely. Like, the ending of this, you will not forget it. You will not be able to forget it. You will want to forget it, but you won't be able to. And it's freaky. Now, the main portion of this book is not all that scary. It's kind of Frankenstein-esque, so if you like that, you'll like this. I love Frankenstein, so naturally I love this. But the ending is really the sweet spot here, and it'll leave you uncomfortable. uncomfortable and unable to sleep. So yeah, highly recommend this one. I think it's definitely an underrated Stephen King book. I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it in regards to like his best work, but I think it's one of his best because boy did he put a lot into that ending, and it's wonderful. If you feel like having a midlife crisis, then yeah, go ahead and pick it up. So that is going to do it for these recommendations for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments for me, but also for other people. And yeah, I love really scary books. So if you can scare me with your recommendation, kudos to you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.